Mark Carney says Benjamin Netanyahu would be arrested if he came to Canada. So, you know how sometimes your friend says they'd totally do something brave, but you're like, sure, Jan. Well, Canada just went full "we're not bluffing" mode on one of the world's most controversial leaders. And folks, this isn't your average diplomatic tea party. This is arrest warrant territory. Buckle up, because today's Canada Bulletin is spicy. What's up, Canada Bulletin fam? If you're new here, welcome to the channel where we break down Canadian news with the energy of a double-double and the sass of a Canadian goose protecting its territory. And if you've been here before, you know we don't do boring. Today, we're diving into Prime Minister Mark Carney's latest statement that has the international community doing a collective spit take. Because when asked if Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu would be arrested if he came to Canada, Carney didn't hem and haw. He didn't pull a politician and answer a completely different question. Nope. He said one simple, crystal clear word: yes. And honestly, the diplomatic equivalent of try me energy is strong with this one. But before we get into the juicy details, let me set the stage. Because this isn't just about one question on one podcast. This is about international law, decades of Canadian foreign policy, and an arrest warrant that's been sitting there like that text you haven't responded to for 3 weeks. So let's rewind to where this all went down. British journalist Mishal Husain, absolute legend, by the way, had Carney on her latest podcast. And she did what good journalists do. She asked the question everyone's thinking, but most politicians dance around like it's hot lava. Would Netanyahu be arrested in Canada? Now, most politicians would give you a 5-minute word salad about consulting with legal advisors and complex international frameworks. But Carney? He looked that question dead in the eye and said yes. One syllable. Maximum impact. Chef's kiss. And here's the kicker. This isn't new territory for Canada. Back in November 2024, when the International Criminal Court, that's the ICC, the big leagues of international justice, issued an arrest warrant for Netanyahu, then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau also said he'd be arrested on Canadian soil. So this isn't Carney going rogue. This is Canada staying consistent, which in politics is rarer than a double rainbow riding a unicorn. But why is there an arrest warrant? Glad you asked, because this is where it gets real. Now let's talk about that arrest warrant, because it's not exactly for jaywalking. The International Criminal Court doesn't just hand out arrest warrants like Oprah giving away cars. You have to really mess up. We're talking alleged war crimes, crimes against humanity, the stuff that makes the international community go, okay, we need to have a serious conversation. In November 2024, the ICC issued this warrant for Netanyahu. And Canada, as a member state that actually respects international law, wild concept, I know, is obligated to enforce it. It's not optional. It's not a suggestion. It's international law, baby. Now, here's where Carney gets even more direct. He didn't just stop at yes, we'd arrest him. He went full political science professor and explained why Canada's position makes sense. And honestly, even if you disagree, you've got to respect the clarity. Carney said that Netanyahu's government has taken actions explicitly designed to end any possibility of a state of Palestine. That's not diplomatic vagueness. That's calling it what it is. He added that these actions violate the UN Charter and go against Canadian government policy of whatever political stripe since 1947. Since 1947, people, that's before your grandparents were arguing about who ate the last Timbit. Canada's support for a two-state solution is older than the CN Tower, older than the loonie, older than the debate about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. It doesn't, by the way. Fight me. So when Carney says this is Canada's position, he's not making it up on the fly. He's pointing to nearly 80 years of consistent foreign policy. That's like showing up to an argument with receipts, screenshots, and video evidence. But wait, if you're sitting there going, what's this two-state thing everyone keeps mentioning? Don't worry, I got you. Here's the crash course. A two-state solution means Israel and Palestine exist as two separate, independent nations, side by side, hopefully getting along like good neighbors who borrow sugar and don't blast music at 2 a.m. Canada officially recognizes Palestine as a state. That's not new. Trudeau's government made it official, and Carney's reaffirming it. The idea is that both peoples have the right to self-determination, security, and their own government. Simple in theory, incredibly complex in practice. Like assembling IKEA furniture without instructions while someone's playing bagpipes in the background. And Carney's point is that Netanyahu's actions, settlement expansions, policy decisions, the whole package, are actively making that two-state solution impossible. It's like saying you want to build a sandcastle while simultaneously kicking sand everywhere. It doesn't work. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but what about insert counterpoint here? And look, this is complex. There are perspectives, histories, and pain on multiple sides. But today, we're talking about what Canada's official position is and why Carney said what he said. And that position, it's crystal clear. So why does this matter beyond just one politician saying one thing on one podcast? Because it's about principle, consistency, and Canada's role on the world stage. When we say we support international law, do we actually mean it? Or is it just something we say at UN meetings while crossing our fingers behind our backs? Carney's yes says Canada means it, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it creates diplomatic tension, even when it would be way easier to dodge the question like a politician in a debate. And here's the thing. This isn't about being anti-Israel or pro-Palestine. You can support Israel's right to exist and believe in Palestinian statehood. You can condemn terrorism and also condemn violations of international law. These aren't mutually exclusive. Nuance exists, even though the internet tries to convince us otherwise. What Carney's doing is reaffirming that Canada has a position based on international law and long-standing policy, and we're sticking to it. That's it. That's the tweet. Now, will Netanyahu ever actually come to Canada and test this? Probably not. World leaders tend to avoid countries where they might get arrested. It's just bad trip planning. But the statement matters because it shows where Canada stands when the chips are down. So there you have it. Canada Bulletin fan Mark Carney said the quiet part out loud, stayed consistent with decades of Canadian policy, and gave us all a masterclass in direct communication. Whether you agree or disagree, you can't say he wasn't clear. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Canada's position makes sense? Should we enforce ICC warrants no matter who they're for? Or is international politics way more complicated than any 7-minute video can cover? Spoiler, it is. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Keep it respectful, keep it smart, and let's actually have a conversation instead of screaming match. If this video helped you understand what's going on, smash that like button, subscribe for more Canadian news that doesn't put you to